As you guys have probably been seeing on the channel, I am working to rebuild my collection of Nintendo handhelds, and this 3DS XL is going to be an addition to that collection. Unfortunately for this one, it does not work, but we're going to see if we can get this thing cleaned up and working again. So as you guys can see, we did manage to get this 3DS XL running. First off, this thing was nasty. Excuse my English, but holy smokes. I am not convinced that this didn't have some kind of water damage, even though that the water damage detection pads on the inside of the device, there's one in the battery compartment, and then there's one, I believe it's up in the top corner of the device. I'm not convinced, even though that they were intact, that this thing didn't have some sort of spill. But yeah, and I haven't had much experience opening up devices like this and trying to fix them. This is something new I've kind of gotten into recently, but it definitely to me looks like there was some sort of spill, and it kind of looks like coffee to me, the way it kind of stuck to the device and the coloring, but we don't know for sure the history behind this particular 3DS XL. So I mentioned in the beginning of this video that this device did not work, and elaborating on that a little bit more, basically it wouldn't turn on, no blue light, no nothing when you would hit the power button. The only sign of life that this 3DS XL did have is when you plugged in the power to charge it. We did get the red charging indicator, so there was signs of life in the motherboard. It wasn't completely dead. And basically we stripped it down, and as you guys saw, we just did some cleaning. I just took a Q-tip with some isopropyl alcohol. I did further clean it a little bit with a toothbrush and isopropyl alcohol, but I think that's pretty much all it took, was just some cleaning around the power components on the circuit board. And I think they just kind of got gummed up and the power button wasn't actually functioning, so I think cleaning that with the electrical components on the motherboard definitely got us to a working state. Definitely compared to other Nintendo handhelds that I've worked on recently, this is probably the hardest one I've encountered as far as working on it and getting it running again. The other devices that you guys have probably seen on the channel recently, that being the Game Boy Color, the Advanced SP, obviously those are much easier because the technology is far less compared to what's inside a 3DS. And for a Color, it's not a hinged device or anything like that, so you don't have any crazy ribbon cables that need to go inside a hinge, stuff like that, which makes it a lot easier. But the 3DS XL, and from what I've seen a lot of other YouTubers that do repairs on devices like this, it is one of the harder ones to try and repair. And I think a lot of that's just due to all that's going on inside of the device. So there's a lot of little ribbon cables. Some ribbon cables are on the back side of the motherboard when you lift up, so you really got to be careful. And it gets even more complicated when you start troubleshooting and working on the top portion of the screen, because there's, I think, 3 ribbon cables that have to fit through the hinge, and that gets really complicated doing that and not damaging anything. So the 3DS XL is actually a really interesting device here in 2021. There's a lot of people talking about how games are probably going to jump quite a bit in price due to it being the end of life for the Nintendo DS lineup. So the 3DS, the new 3DS, the new 3DS XL, the new 2DS I think they call it, but basically their new lineup of the 3DSs, their revisions that came out a few years ago, they're no longer being made, and pretty much everything has gone to the Nintendo Switch. So the collector market and the used market is definitely going to start to demand more of a premium because of that, and along with the consoles, the games will also be going up too. So I had never owned a 3DS when they were a current device, so, and there's a lot of great titles on these devices from what I could see. And the DS lifespan has a huge library of games, whether it's the original DS or the 3DS lineup, a wide variety of titles. So I definitely want to dig in and try some of those out. And I think it's really cool. We took a device that I paid obviously a lot less for than a device that was working. We got it working, and now we can experience some of those games for the first time. That's going to wrap up this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and some of the previous Nintendo handheld videos that I've done, whether it's been repairs, mods. I've really enjoyed doing them, so I hope you guys enjoy watching them and maybe found them helpful if you have run into similar issues on some of your handheld devices, or you're looking to mod some of your handheld devices. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying these. As you guys can tell, my channel really isn't super focused on one thing in tech, and I think that's why I kind of struggle with, you know, the algorithm and more views and stuff, which I'm not super concerned about, but I just like a lot of things inside of tech. So it makes it tough, and I kind of go in phases with stuff where I'm, you know, doing one thing over another in tech. And right now too, I kind of built this channel on building PCs, but we all know how the PC market is, and it's hard to do right now, especially for a small channel like this. But we definitely will be doing some more PC builds here in the future. But as of right now, we're just kind of hanging out, working on some of these devices, and I'm trying to build up my collection of Nintendo handhelds that I used to own. And I think this has been a lot of fun, and it's cool bringing some older hardware back to life, and giving them mods to make them a little bit more up to date and a little bit better to game on. So I think it's pretty cool. I think this is a neat avenue of tech to go down, so I hope you guys are enjoying it. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like on it, and if you want to see more tech related videos like this one, be sure to subscribe. As always guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.